Alright guys, Rollout here, welcome back to another quick easy video tutorial sort of thing. Today we're going to be going over sound design inside FL Studio 20, going over all the basics of sound design so we can get you guys sorted, get you guys making music and ready to produce. So let's get into it. Alright guys, here we are inside the studio. This is the first thing most people will see when they come to sound design is two oscillators. It's pretty much the same as most VSTs. A lot of them, well, all of them will have oscillators. So if we got like 3 oscillator, we can see 1, 2, 3. This is probably a better way to explain it now. So oscillators are essentially sound waves. So, you know, different shapes of the sound come in. So these are different shapes of the same sound frequency. And as such, they sound different. That's someone else. And we have 3 oscillators, so we can essentially mix these 3 sounds together to create a synth. So that's the basics of it. Very simple, very easy. Now if we go into something like Serum, we have a lot of sound waves that we can go through. So there are a lot here. Again, I usually like using analog, but we have loads of stuff, especially with Serum. If we're designing sounds, you know, we've got unison, which is, I believe, how many notes there are. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Detune. So how wide the sound is in a way. But as we bring it up, it becomes more distorted and out of tune. So I like to keep it maybe around there. Of course, octaves are the scale that it's at. So if it's in a lower octave, it's going to sound lower. If it's in a higher octave, it's going to sound higher. And if it's in a middle octave, it's going to sound right in the middle of the road. So we can turn it up, and that will be us in a higher octave. Level, of course, is just the audio of the sound, or the volume, sorry. Wavetable position is the position of the sound wave. As we can see here, if we change this, it kind of completely changes. Kind of goes through the wave shapes. But that's kind of the basics of sound design, I suppose. We're essentially bringing in frequencies and shapes of these sounds and bring them together to make, you know, one sound. And now if we add another one, this is a sharper waveform. We can add maybe, let's go through them. Square obviously sounds more like that. The sine wave, I think, which this is, we can add the sub as well. We can see here. So this is a sine wave, this kind of shape here. Smooth, usually fine. This is, of course, the triangle shape, which sounds a bit more like, yeah, we can hear it basically. This is the saw. A lot more jagged, usually used with a lot of notes, so it creates this like big super saw, this big effect. So that's kind of one used for the saw. Square, as you can see, sounds more square, and the pulse kind of sounds like a game, like a 8-bit style. So now we can do a lot of things just with a simple sine wave. For example, if we drop it like a few octaves, we now have a bass. Just from dropping it 2 octaves. We put it up, we've got some sort of lead almost. These are the very basics, so you can add more. So if we wanted, maybe let's add another sine, maybe in a higher octave. And these sounds will essentially blend together to create one sound. That's what the oscillators are there for. Now, this other thing, so we've got our sub here. Again, these are just frequencies. We can drop octaves. Again, very much just like another oscillator. Now, the noise, again, same sort of idea, but with white noise and different kind of noises. So usually just there to add a bit of texture, nothing too crazy. Not always needed, but you want to make your sound a bit more nice. Now, the next thing I'm going to go over is the filter here. Now, a filter essentially will cut off frequencies. That's like the main function of most filters, is to modulate the frequencies in some way. So if our cutoff is right up and we're affecting both, so this is A, B, so the A and B oscillator, you basically hear anything, just this very low end. If we bring it up, hear it opens up these frequencies again and again. That's white noise is too loud. It's fine there. Now, resonance with the filters is just, will boost the resonant frequency. The pan, again, left or right. Panning is very simple. Drive, as it says, boost the signal, adds a nice distortion. If we're looking for that. And the fat, it sets a variation on the filter. Usually these are just personal preference, really. The mix, pretty much how much filter, how much is actually being filtered. And these are just the amount of filter. This is how steep the curve is that is being filtered off. So these MG low, 24, 18, 12, and 6. This will be very, linear. And this is very steep, as we can see. Now, onto the envelopes. Now, the envelope is kind of, so you've got your sound, and right now, just plays when you press it, and it's sustained. So, but this is basically the sustain. Now, if we wanted a very short sustain, what do you think would happen? If you're not new to, if you're new, then you're probably wondering, but if not, it's how long the sound is sustained, kind of in the name, basically. So if we bring it short, it's not sustained very long, is it? Now with the decay up and the sustain down, so it's not being sustained, so it will eventually die out. Whereas if we bring the sustain up, it will play and be sustained. If we wanted to pluck, we would bring the decay down, sustain down pretty much as well. The hold, that's how quick we want it to hold for. Whoom. So it goes whoom. So you can see by this little notch here, if you bring it in, it won't be held very long. So there's our pluck. Now the attack is essentially how quick the attack will play. So if we pull it up, we'll have like a delay to the attack. If we pull it in, it'll play instantly. It'll play as soon as we press the button. Which is perfect. So that's kind of ADSR in a nutshell. The LFO. Now the LFO, this essentially will, well, I can show you better, I can tell you. So if we drag this over to, for example, the cutoff filter, it plays through this shape here. So you can see by the blue line, it's playing through the shape. This is how much is being, how much of it is being filtered. So if you do very short, it's going to go like very, not long. This will do the whole frequency range basically. So if we hold it, it's still a pluck. But if we wanted the hold to be up, for example, and the decay time, and sustain up so that it plays indefinitely, we now have a kind of LFO sound that is automating the filter, the cutoff, without us doing anything. If we want it a bit lower, we can turn the bar to bar. Okay, now again, if we wanted it to come up, we're using the same tactics with ADSR. We're basically bringing the attack down for this. Or if we want it to attack higher or sooner, basically, we bring it up. So let's put this down an octave, this down an octave as well. And let's maybe pick a different sound for this. And we can essentially make this into like one of those old dubstep leads that, bob, bob, bob sort of thing, by using an LFO. So again, we just dragged it onto the cutoff here. So that again is just automating the cutoff essentially and playing it like a dubstep melody because it's going down. If you wanted it slower, we wanted to rise it. Again, a lot of these dubstep producers will automate this to kind of change. Kind of like that in sort of a dubstep way. If we want to turn this wob lead sound into something else, then obviously we'd bring the rate down, like a lead or something, we would pull up the octave. We'd probably change this to very low and not make it too much. And the legato and mono now. This essentially will glide the note up to the next note. So if you turn it way up, so that is this gliding thing we have with this mono portal. And bring the curve up as well. And then pretty much a lot of what we can do, we can automate different things. So we can automate the detune if we wanted the LFO to be on the detune here. Bring these up and then play the sound. This will make the detune kind of breathe. As we can see here, and let's say we wanted it a bit quicker, so we could do this one and then put up to maybe 16 and then change this LFO, put it here. Yeah, that's way too fast. So that's our kind of lead sound. Again, it's a bit flat, a bit dull. So with effects and things like that, you can add, you know, basic stuff to it. So like a delay, for example, we'll bring it in, make it more atmospheric. Just delays the sound in a sense. Distortion again will make it more gritty, more kind of dirty sounding. Reverb obviously just reverbs it, makes it very wide and airy. EQ, very simple. Again, just EQs out some of the sound, basically deletes some of the sound frequencies. So if we wanted no lower bass, so this doesn't mix with the bass, for example, we bring it in. So no low frequencies are being passed through that. Phaser does some crazy things with a phase. Filter, we've already been through a filter, does very much the same as the one on the oscillator page. And a compressor will squash the sound so it doesn't become too much of a burden in the mix. That's pretty much sound design in a nutshell. Hopefully it helped. Now again, if you're wondering with the sine waves and the sounds, just kind of play with them, see what sounds you like. A lot of this is experimentation, you know, there's not a set in stone way of doing things. If you want smoother sounds, go with things like a sine wave. If you want kind of sharper sounds, go with like the squares, the harsher tones, the saws, for example, things like that. So again, there we've kind of added a sub saw here, just giving our sound like this buzzy sound. But that's kind of the basics of sound design. If there are any questions or anything you didn't understand, please leave them in the description and I'll do a video on them helping you out. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Much love. Verdant EP will be out soon. If you want to listen to some of my music, it will be available shortly. However, take care of yourself. Have a good day and I will see you in the next one I do.